Hi, today we're talking with Eben Greybourne, a senior acquisition professional here in Region 5 GSA. Eben's been in the acquisition game for upwards of 40 years, working for 6 different agencies in the continental U.S. and overseas. He has purchased everything from commodities and services like research and development, construction, environmental and nuclear remediation, and professional engineering and IT services. He's got a wealth of experience to share with us today. First question, what would you consider the best methods for conducting effective market research?
I think I'd like to preface this and first say that anyone who is starting a new procurement action should be familiar with FAR Part 10, which has to do with market research or any agency supplement. There's no substitute for reading the application, the regulation, Before addressing methods, I first want to mention what I would consider to be the 2 primary reasons for doing market research. One reason is to define or refine the government's requirement by finding out what is commercially available or non-commercially available in the marketplace. Using a simplistic example, suppose you have a requirement you want to buy walking shoes, but you don't know a great deal about walking shoes. So what do? You go to the shoe store, maybe to several shoe stores. You talk to the associate there. You say, tell me about these shoes. And he tells you about the different styles, different shapes, different comfort level. And he might even go on and talk about some manufacturing techniques that affect durability of the shoes. Things that you would not know until you started doing some investigation in the marketplace. You might also, in doing your market research for the government, learn about laws or regulations or special industry practices that might apply to what you're buying. So by doing the market research, you're learning things that will affect the development of your requirement. That's the first reason for doing market research. The second main reason for doing market research is actually to locate vendors who can fulfill your requirement.
Okay, another question for you. What are some of the best examples and or best practices you've seen concerning market research?
Okay, I'm not sure I would call these methods per se. I sort of put them in a category of tools. So when we're ready to do market research, what tools are available to us? And we have a number of them, and my list is not all inclusive. But I'll throw out a few of them. Of course, in the past, we used to use the phone book and the Thomas Register to locate suppliers. Today, we use the internet, and search engines are our friend. So other things that we use for market research would be GSA's new acquisition gateway, which includes a lot of vendor information. We also get product and vendor information from GSA Advantage or their e-library, which are also web applications. We also publish requests for information, both through the GSA eBuy web portal and also through FedBizOps. And we're doing that to get information about vendors and their capabilities. If we have a complicated project and need industry input to assist us in developing our requirement, we can sponsor an industry day meeting or pre-solicitation conference where we can exchange information with potential industry partners.
Okay.
We can also contact the Small Business Administration for vendor referrals, and familiarity with indefinite quantity contracts can also introduce us to vendors who are already often pre-qualified to deliver certain products for us. So those are just a few examples of the tools that we have.
I see you mentioned something about small business in the previous answer. How do you involve or consider small business in doing your market research?
Right, well, essentially the government has a mandate to purchase from small businesses if small businesses can fulfill your requirement. So we always look at small businesses first. In my particular situation, as I previously mentioned, we almost exclusively do a request for information and advertise that and get responses back. That does a couple things for us. It provides responses from vendors who are currently interested in doing the job. I mean, there might be many companies out there that can do the job, but right now they're at capacity, or for whatever reason they're not really interested in your project. So this gives us a list of vendors that can actually do the project and are interested, and they will provide us with a capability statement and also with their socioeconomic status. We take all that into consideration, reviewing their capabilities, and from that develop a procurement strategy. And in our case, often that strategy ends up being a small business set aside.
Finally, how do you really stay up to date in the market research environment?
Well, staying up to date really is just being aware. Sometimes it's just a matter of reading the news. There are a couple of newsletters, acquisition newsletters, that we can keep up with. I know, at least I'm pretty sure, that one of the functions of this new GSA acquisition gateway is to try to provide up-to-date information on resources. So that's one place that I will now go to on a regular basis just to keep up with current events. But otherwise, it's reading, keeping up with the news, and keeping in touch with other procurement professionals who may have seen something that you didn't see.